They're not going to rook us. Explain it to me. I'm not a numbers guy, but that doesn't seem to add up. It's a very poorly officiated basketball game. Take that for data.
We're on. We're live, boys.
All right. Hello, NBA sports fans. Welcome back to the Up and Under podcast. We are here coming at you live with a new setup that our head man, Sebastian, has figured out for us. We are coming back. My name is Zach Henderson. Alongside, we got Sebastian Wilmer. Yeah, what up? And Sancho Perez coming in hot from London, England. How's it going, guys?
What's good? Doing great. Thank you, bro.
Oh, so we're coming hot off the tails of a very eventful NBA playoffs. Congratulations once again to the NBA champions, the Golden State Warriors, for the back-to-back years. And right now, we're just pushing straight through to the NBA draft. It happened on Thursday. We're talking about it on Sunday because there was still so much to have talked about it. It was a very eventful draft, a lot that's happened, and a lot that we can look forward to as NBA fans, the future of all these promising franchises. So before we begin, boys, how'd you like the draft?
Always exciting. I think a lot of people around the league, in the media, everyone kind of is in agreement that this could be a very, very strong draft class. And, I think it looks that way. Obviously, none of these guys are proven, and it's a whole nother league translating it to the NBA game. But I think a lot of them are prepared, and I think it's going to be something we look back at as one of those years that had a great draft class.
Yeah, I thought it was exciting that we had some trades early on, and some teams trying to move up, trying to move down, made the draft definitely more interesting. And there's definitely some surprises that we're going to talk about. So let's get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, number one overall there, DeAndre Ayton to the Phoenix Suns. I think this pick, he was the clear overall number one pick. I don't think if whatever organization had that pick, he was going. He looks like a full-grown man in this draft, and after that, it comes down to, I think, the next picks, teams picking who is the most suitable for them, and that's where we saw a little bit of movement. But we'll talk a little bit about DeAndre Ayton and his promising future with the Phoenix Suns.
Mm-hmm. So right off the bat, we've got a lot of comparisons to DeAndre Ayton to a couple former big centers in the NBA, a couple legend NBA centers. DeAndre Ayton himself has even gone on the record to say that he sees a little bit of a Shaq and Kobe 2.0 going on in Phoenix with Devin Booker, obviously, that we got here. Right now, with the fit for the Phoenix Suns, we could definitely tell that their front court was kind of lacking. They already had Marquise Chris and Dragon Bender there, but not huge physical presence down in the low post. So with DeAndre Ayton there really commanding the middle there, that could be a huge upside for them on both, well, hopefully on both the defensive and offensive end, but obviously the major thing that we're seeing right now is on the offensive end.
Yeah, I think his only knock from a lot of scouting reports, analysis, is his defense, his motor. Is he able to compete 48 minutes on the defensive end? We'll see. I think he should be motivated, obviously, step into the NBA level now. And I think it's great that as a number one pick, you have people doubting a certain skill. And I'm sure he'll give more on that side. College ball can be easy sometimes when teams are playing zone defense, can be a bit boring as a center to just be in the middle. I think he should be motivated to go against, the best bigs in the league. And it should help his motor, I think. I think he's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's pretty suitable for the Phoenix Suns as well. They're losing a guy like Alex Len this year. Contract expired. They have quite a bit of guard play and some forwards that they can play with. Tyson Chandler's maybe a questionable trade opportunity this summer to get him out of there. But they still have Brandon Knight coming back from injury. You're going to have Devin Booker, and they've released Elfrid Payton today as well, I believe. So there's some clear cap room Phoenix has a good opportunity to bring in veterans, bring in these guys. I'm not sure if there's a clear leader in this organization yet. And they're all young, and it doesn't have to happen yet. Hopefully they all can grow and contribute in different ways. But looking like a promising organization right now. Very young and big talent upside here.
Mm-hmm. Right off the bat, too, when DeAndre Ayton got drafted, one of our favorite NBA big men, Joel Embiid, quickly introduced him to the NBA and was caught tweeting out, "Don't compare me to DeAndre Ayton. I play defense." So, I mean, shots have been fired at the number 1 pick right now. Can't wait to see that Suns-Philly matchup later on this year, just to see what he can do. Like back in March for the March Madness tournament, I had Arizona going all the way, winning the whole championship right on the back of DeAndre Ayton. So, I got a lot of hope for this guy. Clearly, I didn't see it back then. We didn't see much from Arizona in the NCAA tournament. But you know what? He's got an NBA-ready body. He's going to fit pretty well, hopefully, with Devin Booker. He can be a decent rim runner, a good pick-and-roll player as well. He's big. He's tough. There's a lot to see from him.
Yeah, I wish ESPN would give us maybe multiple comparisons, maybe a floor or a ceiling guy. It's such a tough job. I know Jalen Rose was handling it the past few years. I think Chauncey missed a big shot handling it this year. If you give one comparison, everyone just jumps on that right away. But gotta love Embiid, always active on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even too, like with the Suns organization, you kind of got to feel bad for Elfrid Payton too. He cuts his hair, trying to do a better life, trying to be an elite NBA point guard. They just drafted a huge NBA center, ready now, and
he cut his hair.
Yeah, he cut his hair.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Yeah, hopefully it's not blocking his vision anymore. Maybe he'll actually get a couple more millions of dollars on the free agent market.
Yeah, that's the thing though with Phoenix, man. They couldn't have held on to all these guys. I think you got to believe in Brandon Knight coming back. It's for me, it's going to be big moves this offseason in terms if they want to bring in a big free agent and they think they're already ready to go with it. Obviously, you want to give DeAndre Ayton and some of these other young guys a lot more run, so they get acclimatized with this young team. But you're still holding on to a couple of vets in Tyson Chandler, and I'm really intrigued to see what they do there with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Devin Booker was running some point guard last year. They were trying it out at the end of the season. So I wonder if they're going to try that again this year or just have him at the shooting guard. As Seb mentioned, Brandon Knight is an option. Will they do something in free agency? Going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's move on. Pick number 2. Obviously, Sacramento Kings, a lot of heat in their office for the age of time and have had some troubles as of recently. But I think Marvin Bagley's a great pick for them and a great addition to their very young team as well that's going to continue to grow and watch them grow. We'll start off with a quote here I have from Vlade Divac. My team is a super team, just young, and he made sure to point out the fact that the Kings beat the Warriors twice last season. I agree that his team is young and they have a lot of promise, and it totally could be a super team. I believe in a lot of these guys, but let's hold on to beating Golden State like they're that close.
Mm-hmm. Right now, when I look at the depth chart for the Sacramento Kings, right, they still have Zach Randolph. They still got Willie Cauley-Stein, trying to figure out where Marvin Bagley kind of fits into the rotation kind of thing. Like, you got Costa Koufos, and remember last year they drafted Harry Giles, who spent the entire year kind of on the sidelines injured. So right now I'm trying to think who of these guys, with Harry Giles is still kind of viewed as a top prospect, which one of them gets moved out of the rotation for the starting lineup, or who right now would fit best with another guy. Because right now, Marvin Bagley, he's going to be crashing the boards. He's a rebounding threat on every position. Zach Randolph doesn't necessarily give you that. He gives you a lot of offense. But now that Zach Randolph's getting into that older stage of his career, maybe Zach Randolph kind of takes back a bit more of more of a mentoring position to the young guys like Marvin Bagley and Harry Giles and Cauley Stein.
Yeah, I think they're a lot younger than some may believe. Like, you're losing Vince Carter this year. I believe Iman Shumpert opted out. He's looking for a buyout, or he opted out. So they're going to lose Iman. Joe Johnson's gone. I imagine that Zebo wants time on the court, and doesn't just want to be a role player and a bench guy that can help along these young guys. So I expect him to look for a trade or a buyout so he can sign with another team. But I think that's totally okay. I think the Sacramento team, Willie Cauley-Stein, is still learning, and it's going to be a beast in this league for years to come, in my opinion. You got Bojan Bogdanovic, who's a killer, not afraid of any challenge. DeAndre Fox, Buddy Hield, the list goes on. And if Marvin Bagley can show some upside as well, he's going to be a great contributor and definitely can earn a starting spot if he puts it out there. But this team is very dynamic at every position. Willie Cauley-Stein, Skal Labissière can space the floor, can attack the rim, have a decent dribble, and then you have some pretty fast guards and in DeAndre Fox and Buddy Hield.
You can't forget too that the Kings have the rights to Bruno Caboclo, fam.
He's a free agent, restricted, but he is free agent this year.
But they still have the rights. So if they want to match the salaries for whatever team is going to offer him money, should be fun. I'm looking right now at the salaries for the upcoming future for the Sacramento Kings right now. And for the next 3 years, they have Bogdan Bogdanovic, De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Justin Jackson, Harry Giles, and Skal Labissière, and Frank Mason III. This is a very young team that's got a lot of promise, especially with Buddy Hield Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox kind of coming as the starting backcourt. That could be a very lethal team in the next 2 to 3 years, especially too with Bogdan Bogdanovic coming overseas and honestly just destroying it last year. He did really well. The fact that the Kings had a fair amount of buzzer beaters and game winners last year was very exciting to watch. Yeah, they're a fun team to watch. Harry Giles and Marvin Bagley, they're going to be fun to watch this upcoming season.
I don't like the pick, boys.
Okay.
I don't like the pick. And I think, before we go on to number 3, of course, obviously I'm one of those people who thinks Doncic is a franchise player. And what we alluded to already about, you have Harry Giles, you have Skal, you have Willie Cauley-Stein. I mean, you already have a pretty busy front court with young, talented players. And hearing Vlade Divac, who I loved watching Vlade Divac. I don't know what's up with him right now, but him saying that Bagley can play the 3 is just, I don't see it. Then he would have to really develop his perimeter game when his strengths are really inside the paint. He has a jumper, though. Got to give him that. But I do not like the pick. I don't really understand it. I feel like if you're the Sacramento Kings, you are picking the highest you've picked in almost a decade. Why don't you just go all in and just try to go for a player that could be a franchise player in Luka Doncic?
Do you think Doncic has more upside than Bogdanovic? I think they're pretty similar players in terms of their game and their demeanor on the floor.
No, definitely. I could see that being a bit of an issue to have Fox and Bogdanovic already and then try to implement Doncic in there. But I do think Doncic has a higher ceiling than Bogdanovic. I would just be the mindset of you pick the guy you think can be an amazing player, a franchise player, and then you just figure it out from there. That would have been my approach. The backcourt is crowded. We mentioned Buddy Hield as well, but to me, the frontcourt is even more crowded. Harry Giles is a player I loved in college, and he's going to come in. He wants to play. So is Bagley going to play? Bagley's going to end up playing as an oversized 4 probably because Cauley-Stein is at the 5. So I don't really understand the pick. I'm not the biggest fan of it.
Hmm. Well, all things considered, any pick that a team made that wasn't Doncic, to me, is a bit of a risky pick. I am so high on Luka Doncic, just kind of seeing him go from the Euro League and seeing him win the championship there and winning the Final Four MVP and the MVP. This guy, I believe, has a huge upside, a huge deal. So picking Marvin Bagley over them, the Kings must see something huge in them. Obviously, with the second pick, they had a lot of options to go with. Personally, I thought that they were either going to go with Doncic, Bagley, or Mohamed Bamba. All very different picks. Also with Michael Porter Jr., which is also a big story of the draft to see how far he dropped down to. But you know what? Denver Nuggets got to steal with him. But right now, Marvin Bagley with the Sacramento Kings. Hopefully, what Vlade sees, we'll be able to see it come to fruition. Duke has had a good record of producing good players in the NBA. So who knows? Maybe they'll give us a good surprise.
Mm-hmm. And that moves us on to the third pick, Luka Doncic. And I think franchise player, absolutely. I think you're right about that, Sancho. And a perfect fit for this Dallas Mavericks team. Dallas, I think, had one of the best drafts out of all the teams in the league. They're developing enough young guys. They've got some cap space opening up this year. And I think they're going to be a team that's a little more mature than when we look at Phoenix or Sacramento, and are going to be able to compete and grow at the same time, which is really unique and not easy to do as an organization.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. True blessing for Doncic to go to such a good environment in Dallas. A team with veterans, class 1A organization, and Dennis Smith and Doncic to get in the backcourt. You know, Rick Carlisle likes to run multiple ball handlers, you know, not have one guy dribble the ball too much. So I think it's a perfect fit. And, you know, if there's a franchise that knows how to groom an international young player, Mavs is an example. They did it with Dirk. So exciting. Great pick. I don't mind at all them giving up a first rounder in addition to it. I think it's the right move. You know, Cuban has been knocked on since pretty much they won the championship in 2010 that, you know, he hasn't done any good moves. You know, they've lost a ton of free agents that they wanted. They've never gotten it, but now they made the right move, and I think Dallas gets a great A for this draft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dallas did really well with this pick, especially being able to convince the Atlanta Hawks that, you know what, Doncic, yes, pick him with the number 3 pick, but you know what, your real guy over here is Trae Young. Being able to make that switch and definitely finding a good fit for both teams is definitely what they were looking for most. Right now, looking at the depth chart for the Dallas Mavericks, they got Dennis Smith Jr. and Luka Doncic most likely going to be starting together. But you also got Wesley Matthews and Seth Curry coming off into this other shooting guard position, trying to figure out where they do go with each other, because Seth Curry's coming back from injuries. Wesley Matthews, he's definitely been proven in the NBA. They're most likely going to renounce the rights to Yogi Ferrell and JJ Barea, but there is a lot of movement going on in the rotation there.
Mm-hmm. Definitely lots of options for Dallas. I will just correct you here. I believe Seth Curry is a free agent this year coming off of injury,
okay.
along with Salah Mejri and Yogi Ferrell. So a lot of guard positions opening up for this Dallas team. If they want to re-sign some of those guys, they get their choice, and I think these guys will definitely consider coming back. But they are going to have to probably lose either Yogi or Seth in free agency. They also have, I think, some interest in Nerlens Noel, who's a free agent this year, and they'll have the opportunity to sign for probably a longer-term contract. But a lot of cap space at their fingertips, and I think they're gonna make some good moves this offseason. Lots of potential out there.
Mm-hmm. How much do you think Nerlens Noel is going to be worth on the free agent market this time around, especially after the fiasco the Dallas Mavericks had with them a couple of years ago?
I think he gets, if it's not from Dallas somewhere, he's going to get somewhere between 13 to 15 million a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because right now the highest paid person on the Dallas Mavericks right now is Harrison Barnes with 24 million going into this season, 25 going into next, and then it goes down to Wesley Matthews with 18 million, and then the next highest from there is Dwight Powell with only 9. So they do have a lot of area to move around with. But when we're considering free agent centers that we could possibly sign, there's always that looming max contract going over to potentially DeMarcus Cousins.
Yes, sir.
Clint Capella's out there. DeAndre Jordan will probably opt out and become a free agent this year as well. I'm trying to get a little more money, but it's going to be super competitive come July 1, and there's a lot of teams with a lot of money, so we'll see what happens. But Dallas might make another run at Jordan. I wouldn't rule that out of the books.
Oh man, if I was Cuban, I would never want to see DeAndre's face again. Just if he comes to a signing meeting or a negotiation, put a chair right in the door. You can't come in.
It's probably better for the organization today than, they've been able to grow a younger team. If they made that move a couple of years ago, I think they'd be in a worse position probably as an organization.
Yeah,
they definitely wouldn't be competing for a championship with just him added on as with Harrison Barnes, Wesley Matthews. So we can talk about ifs and buts, but I think it's definitely a consideration. DeAndre Jordan could go there or stay with the Clippers. I think the Clippers have a great shot this year as well.
Even too, very underrated on this team too, Doug McDermott. Doug McDermott has been a very solid player, getting tossed around the league like no tomorrow, gets tossed around more like Black China. But it's gonna be a very fun season to see where they go, because Dennis Smith Jr., very athletic, he's fast. He can shoot the ball, and then especially with one of the downsides that a lot of people are seeing with Luka Doncic is that he's not super athletic, but he's got a huge mind for the game. You put those two together, you see what they can get. Right now, also coming from the experience and the mentorship of Dirk Nowitzki as well. There's a lot that this team can accomplish, a lot that this team can kind of get to, and hopefully it brings a lot of success to this Mavs franchise again.
Yeah, through hoopshype.com, I stumbled on this very interesting article from 247sports.com in which it outlined how the Mavs should accept, DeAndre Jordan, obviously back into having conversation, negotiations going. And they mentioned a really interesting example of with agent Bill Duffy, who has been a long-time NBA agent, who apparently was, a strong force in getting Steve Nash way back from out of the Mavs to the Suns, and how apparently Cuban was not really wanting to do any business with him for the past decade almost. And he was actually one of the agents that were helping to make the Doncic trade happen on draft night. So, the article is kind of implying that, if they can go through that, why shouldn't they allow D to come, to Dallas and have negotiations open? No, why not? Would be a great fit. So, moving on, I believe we are at 4 with
number 4, Jaren Jackson Jr., Triple J. He's very lanky, got a lot of length, very strong, considered center going to the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, at this pick, you really couldn't do anything wrong with it. Jaren Jackson Jr. is a great pick. A very defensive-minded power forward center. You can really be placed anywhere in today's NBA. Really being able to guard the perimeter well. Coming from Michigan State, he's done well for himself, making a name for himself through the NBA or the NCAA tournament, as well as just he's everything that a prototypical NBA scout is looking for. He's got the length, he's quick, he's defensive-minded, which puts him perfect beside Marc Gasol. So you know what, the duo of him and Gasol could be very interesting to watch.
Unless Gasol doesn't like that.
Yes.
Don't touch his boards. Don't touch his boards.
No, Gasol's going to be parked out on the three-point line. He can't even get there anymore.
Do not sub Mark out in the fourth. You lose your job.
Don't rook
Take
him.
that, Fedetta.
Memphis, what do you guys think? Are they contending? Do they want to make the playoffs with Conley back? Are they going to tank? I really don't know what they decided. They re-signed JB Bickerstaff. I mean, if it's about winning, I don't really understand the pick. If it's about tanking, yeah. If it's about, I don't know. Obviously they feel very strongly still about Conley and Gasol, and they believe that if both are healthy, that they can contend for playoffs. But I don't really see it that way. So, what do you guys think?
I mean,
Pass.
any team that has Marc Gasol and Mike Conley, like, you have to think that they're going to do well. But in this loaded Western Conference right now, I don't think that they're still going to do all too well. Maybe in a couple of years when they get decent draft picks again. But, I mean, I wouldn't say they're tanking this year, but I wouldn't say they're contending either.
Yeah, they need to do work this offseason. They need to bring in a star, an all-star caliber guy if they really want to compete. At that, I think the organization, for me, just as a fan perspective, I feel like there isn't much confidence in what direction they're trying to do, and I couldn't guess on it. They definitely, Mike Conley, Marc Gasol are guys that want to win and want to win now. It's about their reputation, and they're not gonna be happy with anything but that. So they're gonna have to recruit. The organization's gonna have to recruit, and there's lots of free agents out there, but they're gonna have to bring an all-star quality guy in as an addition to their team if they want to do anything this year in the Western Conference.
Mm-hmm. You also got to wonder the state of the franchise too, especially considering that a lot of the guys from the NBA draft were declining to send their medical records or to even work out for the Memphis Grizzlies. So what's really going on behind the scenes that's really making these guys not want to play for the Memphis Grizzlies? And if a rookie isn't necessarily wanting to play for the Memphis Grizzlies, what makes you think that a free agent would want to see that as a free agent destination when there's other places that they could easily go to and get some money like that as well?
Absolutely. And no, don't want to pick on this guy again, but the Chandler Parsons contract is just brutal. And this number 4 pick was a great chance, to kind of attach the pick with the contract to maybe tell someone take it. So another opportunity passed by. You still have Mike Conley just starts his max contract next season, and it's grim. Doesn't look good in Memphis. Doesn't look good.
Yeah, obviously Fizdale with the quick tenure there, and he's definitely a guy that was going to bring in a culture, brought in a culture, and it's tough. I don't know what the direction is in the locker room, or what it is with the players. I'm sure they're a little unsure themselves too, but we'll have to wait for a little more to come. I'm holding off on Memphis for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Even too, like the Memphis Grizzlies, they have your boy there, Seb. They got JaMychal Green in the starting lineup.
I think he's a free agent.
Oh, he's a free agent this year? Well, that wait a second. No, he's got $7 million under contract, but it's non-guaranteed. No, it's guaranteed. It might be a restricted free agent on this NBA whatever thing I'm looking at right now. But he's got 7.8 mil, kind of somewhere there. If JaMychal Green does come to the Memphis Grizzlies in this,
you're right.
Pardon?
Sorry,
okay.
You're right. I got that wrong.
All good. Yeah, if JaMychal Green does play for the Memphis Grizzlies this coming season, does he even stay as the starting power forward? Would Jaren Jackson Jr. impact them in their training camp at practice enough to really overstep JaMychal Green there? Because JaMychal Green, he's proven himself as a pretty solid defender, solid offensive threat, especially beside Marc Gasol. Especially when they're trying to go small too. He is a very decent option there at the 5. So who knows? Who knows what they go with them?
Yeah, I really like him because he finds areas where he can rack up the stats. Whether he's not scoring, he's not always a consistent shooter. He'll find ways to get steals, defensive plays, boards, wherever it is he can fit in. He plugs and play really well, but I think the decision is going to be Marc Gasol's, who he likes more. It sounds like that firing had a lot to do with Marc Gasol's relationship with Fizdale, and I don't know if there's any coach that will change that dynamic, and that's a problem to me. But.
Yeah, and even too looking, they have Deontay Davis and Jarrell Martin. Like, both of those players proved very valuable last year nearing the end of the stretches of the season. But I mean, those were kind of garbage minutes back then that they were getting, but they're still pretty decent. Deontay Davis is a quick, versatile defender, very decent in the low post as well. Jarrell Martin, he won huge on the waiver wire in fantasy leagues going later on in the season as well. So very interesting to see what they're going to do with this front court, especially because they need some depth there as well. Free agency, again, very stricken with that Chandler Parsons contract, but they'll be able to make something happen. They'll be able to make something work with it.
Yeah, I think I'll just finish off. We'll move on to someone else here, but I don't think that they'll make playoffs as is. They're gonna have to bring in an all-star quality guy if they want to even compete for a playoff spot in the West right now.
Yeah, agreed. Well, and I guess moving on to our number 5 pick in the NBA draft, the Dallas Mavericks selected Trae Young, which then in turn got traded over to the Atlanta Hawks for Luka Doncic. That was an amazing play. So what do you guys think about it?
Is he too small?
He doesn't want to be compared to Steph Curry, but you have to. It's almost, as Seb mentioned, doesn't have a lot of size, doesn't have a lot of strength right now. He's got the ball handle, and he obviously got that shot from, half court. Interesting tidbit I got from the Ringer article today was that the Hawks GM, Travis Schlenk, he's actually coming over from Golden State. So, there's a connection. Can he be his Steph Curry? Now, slow it down, but it's a perfect situation for Trae Young because Schroeder is almost pretty much out the door. He had a interview in Germany about a month ago in which he pretty much alluded towards wanting to speak to the Hawks about getting traded. And so Trae Young's going to run the show. He's gonna get his shots, which he needs. He's a volume shooter. It's a perfect fit. But as I said before, I don't understand why you don't just pick Doncic 3 if you're the Hawks. But if they like Trae Young more, I think it's a good fit. And, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that Dennis Schroeder has to go in this scenario. But you know what? They may even play the card. What would they even get back in trade value? They were also looking at potential trades during the draft for Kent Bazemore for Harrison Barnes, attached with those picks as well. And eventually, they kind of decided, you know what? Let's forget about the Bazemore for Harrison Barnes. Let's just go with the picks and the future first round pick as well to get Trae Young over there. They have a very young team going on right now. They got John Collins, Kent Bazemore as well, Taurean Prince, who I'm pretty high on, and they got them all locked up for the foreseeable future, 2 to 3 years. So with Trae Young there, he's got the place to move. He's got the place to really just be who he is. I wouldn't really say he's got too many restrictions when it comes to his offensive playing style, but he plays high volume. He plays it well with the ball in the hand and when he's shooting a lot. So who knows? He's got the rim runner John Collins with him too. So everywhere, it could be very interesting matchups for them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be important for the organization and the coaching to make sure that he gets good looks and gets him involved in the offense. I know he can create, but it's a different speed in the NBA, and to get these guys functioning as a team properly, I think is a lot of this responsibility of his success will fall on the organization and how they build it, whether they build it around him or try to put him in a form factor, because he isn't your typical player, and he's going to have to be able to give him some freedom there. But I think as an organization, the Atlanta Hawks are a little further away from a really good winning team, but they still have some opportunity to get some more young guys in and keep growing. But they're in a good spot at this point as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they signed oh, go ahead, Zach.
You go right ahead.
Well, the new coach, Lloyd Pierce, excuse me, who was, head of player development with the Sixers. So I think, the message is clear. Let's get these young guys in, hope that this guy can, develop them, and another high draft pick probably next year for the Atlanta Hawks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They still have Miles Plumlee on the Atlanta Hawks too, and Mike Muscala, because I read that Mike Muscala just picked up his player option. So the power forward position, they still got some spacing on the floor with Muscala and John Collins as well. Dwayne Dedman, he's been very solid as a center there. Not one of the elite ones, but he's very, very solid. Could be fun to watch, especially with all the attention that Trae Young is going to be commanding from some of those pick and roll defenders. It might be easy to get some quick alley-oops over to Dwayne Dedman and just kind of fills up the lane. Not much more on Atlanta, other than Migos seem to like him.
Quavo.
Some good courtside appearances this year. Ticket sales are definitely going up.
Oh, they love him over in Atlanta. This couldn't have been a better option for him. I mean, could have had Doncic, but you know what? Doncic and Trae Young are going to be kind of etched together in history for the foreseeable future. Absolutely. And there's always going to be the debate who won this trade, or who's the better fit. Would have Doncic fit better instead of Trae Young, or vice versa. So you know what? That's also going to be something to look out for in the season. So we're all just going to sit back and watch.
Okay, moving on. Orlando with Mohamed Bamba.
Mo Bamba, Mr. Length and Wingspan himself.
Poor man's DeAndre Ayton.
Poor man's DeAndre Ayton. Maybe even like
a little bit different.
I'm hearing comparisons to Clint Capella rolled around there a lot lately.
Yeah.
And you know what? If he turns out to be any sort of player like Clint Capella, you know what? That's a great pick for Orlando.
Do we know what his college free throw percentage was?
Oh, it was bad, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Well, I'll go quickly look that up. Mo Bamba college free throw stats. Free throw percentage at Texas, he was .681, so 68%.
Solid.
Not too bad. Not too bad for a big man.
I'll take it.
I wouldn't say he has a jumper though.
No.
In my opinion,
he's developing one.
Yeah, nothing like those workout videos of him making threes in a row. He's got a jumper. Shout out to Andre Drummond.
There's a difference between you can't shoot and you're not allowed to shoot.
You give any of these guys to C. Brickley and these videos work.
I like the pick. When you consider a Magic fan, if you think about a potential Jonathan Isaac at the 3.
You just cut out there. So we just rewind 30 seconds. Sorry. So technical difficulties, guys. Sancho's recording all the way from London, England. So
just bear with.
Yeah, I like the pick. I think as a Magic fan, when you think of Jonathan Isaac at the 3, Aaron Gordon at the 4, and Bamba at the 5, it's pretty exciting, especially defensively. Yeah.
Bamba number 5.
Yeah. A lot of versatility, a lot of length, a lot of switchability there. And I think that of Vucevic more likely. I believe he's expiring this year, which gives him a bit more of attraction as a trade piece. And so I don't see the Magic making the playoffs this year. Obviously, got to wait for free agency, but they have a lot of holes at the guard position, and I don't think they can get rid of Bismack's contract. Probably just got to wait it out. So, as cliche as it sounds, I know Magic fans don't want to hear this, but probably just gotta hope another 2 to 3 years and see where you are there once those contracts, Vucevic, Biyombo, are out the door.
Yeah, like the Vucevic trade, seeming inevitable. But Aaron Gordon, he's due for a massive payday coming up. Did they give him the max? What team was going to offer him a max? And would the Magic care to match? Because right now it looks like the team is kind of building around Aaron Gordon. They've got contracts like Evan Fournier on lock for the next 2, with I think a player option in year 3 going on. So that's a significant amount of salary right there. But next year they're going to be losing Terrence Ross, which is $10.5 million right off the books there, and Nikola Vucevic. So maybe Vuce goes over to a team that's contending and just needs some more help at the center position. They got Isaac again for 4 more years, and Jonathan Simmons again for this year and for the next. They've got valuable assets, but the guard position very, very weak. Maybe they're looking towards next year's free agency because the point guard market's going to be huge, and there's going to be a lot of money for point guards there. Or do they bite the bullet and offer someone potentially like Marcus Smart some money? Give him some potential money, because either he signs his contract extension this year, or he holds out and signs a potential bigger one, or he can lose out on some money next year. And then there's also going to be that Terry Rozier issue that the Celtics are going to face as well. So where does he go?
Yeah, there's the point guard market this year, next year is going to be very, very competitive. Seth Curry, we'll see what he gets paid coming back from an injury. But I think Magic have a couple guys they can rely on. Augustine's going to be solid for them. Is he an all-star? No, but he's going to contribute to you every night if you want him off the bench or starting. He's ready to go back and forth. I think Shelvin Mack is a good asset to have. He's still growing and can contribute as well. But they're definitely going to have to continue to grow that position and maybe look for something in the off season.
See, I know that a lot of Orlando fans are really, really high on Jonathan Isaac. So he could play the 3, he could play the 4. Like, he's a very versatile guy. Like, he can play a lot of different positions. I play against him a lot in 2K right now because I'm in the Eastern Conference. And for some reason, that game loves him. They love him to crap because he's probably like one of the highest rated rookies from that class to go on. It is ridiculous how much he spaces the floor. So if he plays anything in real life like he does in the video game, I am so excited to see what the Orlando Magic can do. Mo Bamba number 5.
Hey, I'm on board. It seems like a good guy as well to have in the locker room. So,
So I guess moving down to the 7th pick, we got the Chicago Bulls with Wendell Carter, another center power forward coming out of Duke. This guy played a lot of minutes with Marvin Bagley. Pick for the Chicago Bulls. What do you guys think?
Big fan of the pick. I thought Carter's hype kind of was lost because he was a bit in the shadow of Bagley, who was always considered last year to be the higher prospect. He can stretch the floor. He can already knock down threes, which I think him and Markkanen going to give opposition bigs a lot of trouble with that. If I had to point out a negative, I guess he's a bit slow on his feet. He can't really switch on guards. I think he's going to struggle with that at first. But I do really like the pick and the fit for the Bulls.
Yeah, it's definitely a distinct move for the organization. Last year they struggled finding who was perfect for that center position. They didn't really like playing Porter at the 5. He became more of a 6th man and had minutes sometimes at the 4 with Rolo, sometimes at the 3 and with Markkanen as well. But the Chicago Bulls, it looked like last season, really wanted to have Markkanen out there and someone else at the 5. So they're going to have that opportunity. I'm not sure if they're going to try to move Lopez or have him as a guy off the bench, but I think you need to invest in this young guy and let him get as much run as you can in the starting position. I just hope they free Bobby Portis.
always free Bobby. Although I will say I was a little bit surprised. Like I do like the pick for Wendell Carter at the Bulls because the center position is an interesting one that they do need. But I was more surprised that they passed on Michael Porter Jr. A lot of teams, as we'll see going down later, they all seem to pass on Michael Porter Jr. because of his apparent back injuries. And I heard it's the same injury that both Steve Kerr and Tiger Woods both had. So having that at the age of like 19, 20, that's not a great sign to see. But potentially wise, there was a lot of talk going around that the Chicago Bulls really wanted Michael Porter Jr. So not seeing his name get called within that 7 to 10 range seemed really off to me. But you know what, Wendell Carter, he's going to be a decent fit for the Chicago Bulls. It's going to be fun seeing anybody really with Markkanen, because it really looks like they're building around Markkanen. They also got Zach LaVine there as well, who's also been a really good young prospect for them as well. So who knows?
Yeah, at this point in the draft, there were people from every camp looking at Michael Porter Jr. and saying, how he can't drop further. He can't drop further. But obviously he did, and we'll get there. But I'm sure he was a consideration all the picks that came at this point until he was selected. But they want the sure shot, and they got a center that's young and they can invest in, and hopefully that'll give them some dividends there. But next on the list, you have anything to say about Wendell Carter, Sancho?
Nope, we can move on.
Yeah, okay. So moving on, Colin Sexton.
Colin Sexton.
Most of you know him from a video about when your girlfriend looks mad at you and he leans down and stares deep. Yeah. Anyways, I didn't realize that until the draft that it was the same guy. Great stuff.
Draft him on that premise alone. He's such a funny guy. Like Colin Sexton going over to the Cleveland Cavaliers from that Brooklyn trade, the coveted Brooklyn pick.
Yeah,
Colin Sexton will go down forever known as the Brooklyn pick. It's interesting to know that they drafted a point guard, and he's also taking number 2, taking Kyrie's number 2. So
whatever.
It's interesting to see that there's already that internal struggle, internal kind of conflict right there within the organization for the point guard. Also interesting to note too that not even like 4 minutes after the guys got drafted, they got reporters at draft day like asking him like, so what are you going to do to recruit LeBron? What are you going to do to help him stay? But he just got there. like LeBron's going to do whatever he wants. He's not going to listen to some rookie.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the whole talk about the Cavs depends on one man only, the King.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. It's if LeBron didn't want to play with who was considered at that time franchise player talent, Andrew Wiggins, I don't see how, with all due respect, number 8 pick Colin Sexton will do anything to move LeBron into any direction, either to stay or to go. In addition to that, Colin Sexton is a pretty ball-dominant guard who is a volume shooter in college and not really a fit next to LeBron. So I could be reading too much into it, but I don't see how this affects LeBron's decision anyway.
I've read somewhere on Bleacher Report and The Ringer, they both kind of talked about it, how the organization of the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're already kind of looking beyond the LeBron inevitability, but they've already kind of come out and saying that they want Kevin Love regardless if LeBron stays there or not. So Kevin Love, whatever it is that he's doing, he's still a very good player. Him with Colin Sexton, they can spread the floor with a pick and pop. But LeBron, again, whether or not he stays, is he going to try to blow up the roster again? What is he going to try to do to convince other guys. We're probably not even going to hear LeBron's decision till midway through free agency, so who knows?
Yeah, I think he's going to hear teams out. I think that if I'm LeBron and, he said that his family's a big, important part of his decision, uprooting them is tough. I'm sure he has in mind certain places where he'd rather have them be, whether it be Miami, where they've had a base before, or the suggestion of LA. But obviously, staying put is really good for his family, and definitely, I think, the best choice in terms of if you're looking at his legacy. Leaving now and, hopping around to different teams to get rings, I think, sure, it'll bring the ring count up, but it does hurt his legacy. He's not close to the rings than Michael Jordan had at this point, and we're already considering him so close in the conversation. It's going to be tough for him to go to, say, Houston. Brian Windhorst reported that he's really only considering the Lakers and the Cavs. I don't know too much about that. Obviously, Chris Paul's a great friend, and he's going to have huge recruitment from him, and that's the place to go if you want to win.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a lot more to do with his legacy, and I think staying at Cleveland's the best for that. Maybe that gets swept under the rug if he does go to, say, LA and stays there and they build something around him and they win it next year and the year after. We've seen major names do that before, whether it be Wilt Chamberlain with the 76ers not being able to win it on poor teams and then going to the Lakers in older age and winning a championship there with a better team. So, and that's not really a mark on his record. So I'm not sure what the decision is, but in terms of legacy, I think staying with the Cleveland Cavaliers is a great decision for LeBron, win or lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the Cavaliers with LeBron's decision, it's kind of hard to even go forward with the team, especially how much LeBron's kind of like impacted the roster themselves. Because if it wasn't for LeBron, Tristan Thompson wouldn't have had that massive contract. You wouldn't have gotten J.R. Smith, that massive deal, Iman Shumpert, all of his guys who eventually had to get moved around because they just couldn't sustain it. So in a way, the Cavaliers' dismay of their roster is LeBron's fault to some degree. But they do have the players, they have the personnel to really do well. Like, they still got Rodney Hood. I believe they still got Jordan Clarkson. And like all these players that didn't really show up in the postseason, they are very good regular season players. So whatever they do next year could be kind of altering to what they do choose. But if I'm LeBron, like you said, Seb, I would want to hear all these different teams out, see what they can do. Hopefully our big warlord Messiah can do something for us.
Hey.
As he flips around the Raptor hat. I love it.
LeBronto.
Yeah. Bring LeBron to Toronto.
I'm not ready for it.
I can only hope, but all these Laker fans and Sixers fans don't want him. They think it's gonna ruin what they've started. They want to win it without him, but
trust the process.
Complete the process.
I'm humble enough to take him. So
yeah.
Come here, LeBron. We believe in you.
We want you. Yeah. So I guess anything else from the LeBron talk? It's not even the Colin Sexton pick. It's the LeBron talk.
Exactly.
Totally. It's what it's all about. But Colin Sexton absolutely, I think, is going to be a legit NBA player and going to be able to contribute with or without LeBron. And a great pick for the Cleveland Cavaliers, regardless of what happens to LeBron. It's a good pick for their organization moving forward.
Mm-hmm. So moving forward to the New York Knicks, we've got ourselves Kevin Knox, who was greeted by a massive amount of boos. They even found the guy who was crying at the Porzingis draft, and they found him and his dad again.
No.
No. Apparently it's the same kid.
Internet fame out there.
Yeah, so they found the same kid, same different reaction, the thumbs downs all the way around. Yeah, so Kevin Knox, I mean, he's a decent prospect for them. Kentucky freshman. Anybody really right beside Porzingis who can still shoot. Like, they still got Frank Ntilikina, but a lot of people are deciding whether or not that's a huge whether they want to keep him or trade him. They still got, is it Moutier? Moutier's still on the team too for a little bit.
They need a guard, but they can't draft another because they have too many. They need a lot of things, and I think drafting Kevin Knox at the small forward position was a great choice. Obviously, I think a lot of the boos were coming from people that might have been looking towards Michael Porter Jr. You know, every team at this point, that was the consensus, was why aren't we drafting him? Why aren't we drafting him? Because if he is healthy, he definitely could be a franchise type player. But the Knicks are a little closer to winning, I think, with a guy like Porzingis possibly being healthy halfway through the season. I think it's a good pick, and then they can figure out the point guard in-house.
Yeah.
I want to give the Knicks fans some respect. I mean, those fans that go to draft night and just boo every time the Knicks pick whoever it is.
They're in Brooklyn too.
Yeah, it's just, I think, 19 years old in a season where Porzingis is probably going to be out, 25%, 50% of it. You pick out a young guy like Knox who's just going to have shots available. He can just shoot. You're not expecting to win this year. I like the pick.
And they still got Cantor too, right? So they've got decent guys.
Yeah, he has that player option. It's going to be very interesting. It's a very large player option.
So he'd be kind of dumb not to exercise it, especially in a year where he's going to be getting a lot of touches, a lot of looks. But yeah, again, with Porzingis not being there for a good chunk of time, they really couldn't have done much harm, especially if they're doing this as like a little reach pet project, like, hey, Kevin Knox, we'll let you have the reins for a little bit, even run a bit with Ntilikina and Moutier. Let's see what we can do. It's going to be nice for him. It's also funny to know that the fans of in the stands were chanting "We want Porter" like loudly in the stadium. So much to no avail. All right, I guess moving down to number 10, the Sixers, who eventually got traded to the Phoenix Suns.
Yes, sir.
Good old Mikal Bridges from Villanova. Mama Bridges works for the Sixers organization. Man, it was such a huge string of emotions on the broadcast because the people they had no clue that he got traded. But us, the viewers, we all know this in hindsight. Like, hey, this guy's traded, but he's still wearing the Sixers hat, still talking about how he's going to work with his mom and all that kind of stuff, and they're going to be close together. And then, nope.
Yeah,
vanished. Why is the NBA a soap opera?
Hey, NBA awards coming up. So excited, guys. So excited.
How has it not already happened?
Sarcastic. Sarcastic. I mean,
might have to work on that, Sancho. Your mic presence isn't there.
I mean,
just give.
We're over 2 months. 2 months since the regular season was done. But yeah, another topic. Suns going all in. Trading a unprotected first round pick, 2021. Which may seem right now like nothing, but I mean, if the Suns have 2 more bad seasons, that pick may be a good one. But I love it. Pair him up with Booker, pairing up with Ayton, and a player that has obviously winning experience at the college level, multiple year experience there. Super like the pick.
Yeah. Well, so I guess that brings us out of the top 10. But we got some definite notable kind of picks that we've got going on. Sancho over here in London, he's way ahead of us in the time, so he's exhausted. So we're over here at 5 p.m., 5:30 p.m. He's over there, 11 something p.m. there?
Yeah. You're making me seem old, bro, but almost 11.
But yeah, all good. It's a Monday tomorrow. But yeah, some notable picks. Well, I guess I'll start first. One of my first ones, ironically enough, it's the number 11 pick, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Huge huge upside to him. The Charlotte Hornets originally drafted him and then traded him over to the Clippers. The Clippers originally had that or the 11 to 12 pick. So also knowing that they used that pick to get up, or it was supposed to be the 12-13, right? So they used that pick to get up and pick Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There was a huge amount of talk going about him in the previous to the draft. There were even some reports saying that Masai Ujiri was looking to get a trade package going around to get a pick to get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So there's a lot of promise in him that other GMs are seeing. Now being on the LA Clippers, playing alongside Teodosic, because he just picked up his player option, playing alongside really, like, that Clippers team, they have a lot of good assets. They got a decent team, but last year they really didn't get much of a time to learn from each other because of that huge blockbuster deal that sent Blake out to Pistons.
Injuries as well. But the Clippers team, I agree, looks fantastic. Alexander definitely had a spark in my interest when I heard there were some rumors about the Raptors looking at him. Very dynamic, athletic player, can shoot the ball, can put the ball on the ground, and can also create for other players. I think he's got all the right physical attributes for the NBA, and is going to be able to make it translate. Obviously, didn't have an amazing March Madness tournament, but percentages, points per game were all good throughout his career, and I think that'll translate really well. He's a very dynamic player.
Also coming from our native land, Canada. This marks the sixth season in a row that a Canadian has been drafted in the top 30 or in the first round. So this is a positive trend that we're seeing. Hopefully Canada basketball just gets better and better, adding to the likes of Kelly Olynyk, Jamal Murray. Thon Maker played in Canada for a bit, but he's not Canadian. We don't even know his age, so we can't say much about him. Dwight Powell, we got lots of guys. Our future for Canada, potentially in the Olympics coming up in 2024. Or is it 2024 or 2020? I think 2020.
2020.
Yeah, we've got some good promise for these guys. But yeah, SGA, I'd say that's a great pick for the Clippers.
Yeah, it's the point guard of the future.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, they have a good backcourt, as we mentioned, but older players, veterans. So definitely like the pick as well. So do we talk about Mr. Porter?
Number 14.
14. I mean, Denver, I think beautiful. It's almost my favorite pick, to be honest, of the whole draft, because you don't have to rush him. Obviously the Nuggets missed by one game the playoffs last season. They have a very well spread out roster. They're well positioned at each position, and so you can just bring it along slowly. No high expectations. Coming off the bench, you don't have to force him. He doesn't have to be in that big spotlight. Like if the Knicks picked him at 9, imagine the spotlight on him. So I think it's a very good pick, and hopefully he can stay healthy.
Like you said, they don't even need to rush him in. Like if he needs to take a little bit of time to rehab his back, to do whatever, he has the opportunity over there in Denver.
Absolutely.
So especially playing alongside a potential Jokic, which I'm sure Seb will get to in a bit, and the lineup that really shouldn't have worked with Plumlee and Jokic that surprisingly did. That was weird. And they also got why am I blanking on his name? The power forward from Atlanta before, Millsap. Like they've got guys that are gonna do well.
I love Denver. Super high on Denver. Last year I couldn't resist watching every late night game with them. Paul Millsap, obviously a great player, can contribute in every aspect of the game, whether it be creating, starting the offense, and then obviously great help defender and can contribute in every way. But I know I'm not supposed to read the comments, and I read the comments and I saw someone say, can Michael Porter Jr. carry the Denver Nuggets to the playoffs? And I'm like, Denver Nuggets are going to the playoffs. It's a done deal. We don't need him.
It's just a nice asset.
Yeah, absolutely. And Denver's just getting more mature. Wilson Chandler opted out, so he's going to be a free agent. Will Barton's a free agent. They I think it was last year they extended Gary Harris, so they've got him locked up, and so they have some minutes potential for that small forward position to guard if Porter is available. But I have heard some rumors that he may be out the full season. Sounds like from his camp he's trying to spread the message that he's ready to play and he's going to contribute. But it's yet to be seen. I think if he is on the floor and can contribute to this organization in any way, it's only going to be good for the Denver Nuggets and a good risk reward pick at 14. I think if nothing happens, you keep it in the past. The team's in a good position to take that risk, and if he turns out, you've done something really great for your organization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another notable pick that I've kind of seen is Dante DiVincenzo going to the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that's a great pick for the Milwaukee Bucks. Dante DiVincenzo, he showed some great promise in the finals of the NCAA tournament last year, dropping 30-something odd points there. So you know what? Can never go wrong with him. Any other ones, guys? I know that, what's his name? Lonnie Walker, he couldn't even put his hat on because of his hair.
Yeah, that was a great moment. Dante DiVincenzo, the Michael Jordan of Delaware. A white man can jump, showed those hops in the combine, and perfect fit. Just a knockdown shooter. That's what you want around the Greek Freak, right? Knockdown shooters. So love that pick as well. Lonnie Walker, I got to be honest, I don't know if you guys have anything to add. Not really sure about his game. Didn't watch him a lot last year. But, of course, the Spurs are always known to, in rage 10 to 20, always to make that steal, quote-unquote, right? They always seem to make the right pick. Another notable I have is Grayson Allen, Utah Jazz. I think good environment for him, out of this, he's had his, let's say, bad moments, so to speak, in college, off the court. Yeah, off the court, I should say, on the court as well. And so I think
Draymond.
So I think him being in Utah in that environment, that system, not in a big market is going to help him. So I like that pick as well a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other picks you got there, Seb?
Yeah, Raul Atkins, not a pick, but undrafted. The Raptors picked up. I think an interesting guy to watch in the summer league. I know listening to interviews prior to this, coaches were interested in bringing in a dynamic guy, and Nick Nurse speaking dynamic being, can kind of do it all, but not necessarily super functional. And I think Raul Atkins kind of fits this mold perfectly. He can shoot the ball, and he's got good IQ where he sees the play and can create. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they develop him. He could be a gem that they've found. I really hope so. And I would say a smaller version of Pascal Siakam, high energy. If you watch any footage of this guy play, he's out there and he's giving 110% every minute. So I'm excited to see some of these guys go into summer league and how they develop. But definitely an eye on Raul Atkins for the Raptors.
Yeah, I got two more notable guys here. We got Moritz Wagner from Germany, who played in Michigan, to the LA Lakers. I saw him all throughout Michigan because I've dubbed Michigan as my team lately on in the NCAA tournament because of
After
that Stein.
After he just said he was cheering for Arizona.
I had them winning.
Can we go back? Whoa.
What,
Whoa.
Cavs in 6? Cavs in 6?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Hey,
Cavs in 9.
I found a nice Michigan State Stein at Valley Village not long ago, like a year and a half ago. So that's been my team. But yeah, no, I went with Arizona for good old DeAndre Ayton. But yeah, Moritz Wagner, very great pick. He's spunky. He's got a lot of energy. He is a gritty guy that he will always put 110% into everything that he's got out in the play. He's very passionate, so I'm excited to see him. And then also, too, going to the very end of the draft, we've got Kostas Antetokounmpo. I'm surprised he slipped all the way. I'm surprised he slipped all the way down to 60 because after seeing what the first Greek Freak has done, wouldn't you want to see Kostas on any other team? He's going to the. Is he going to the Sixers? Oh no, at least to Dallas. Dallas now.
Yes.
So, man, Dallas is just killing it with this draft. So What's his name? Isaiah Thomas. He also tweeted out before the draft, whoever gets picked number 60, come at me because I got some advice on how to be great. I don't know how much advice you want to take from Isaiah Thomas, but you know what?
Anything you can get, man. I think
Exactly.
if my brother's, an MVP candidate, I'm looking to get as much information from any of these guys and start those relationships. So yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I think Dallas is one of the teams that had probably the best draft this year, in my opinion. Team that's in a position to win and still grow at the same time. That was an interesting trade they made at the end there to pick up Antetokounmpo. But if you look at 33, we're talking about some of their guards leaving. They picked up a guy named Jalen Brunson, who's a great point guard, and who played with Villanova from 2015, 2018. So had that championship under his belt, 2-time champion, and knows winning. So I think he's a guy that is a little older and will contribute and possibly be able to be a starting or a backup guy for them. So Dallas Mavericks, round of applause to them. I think great job there. Cue the
Already
round of applause
working.
sound effects. We're getting there.
We'll get
We're
that
getting there.
soundboard.
Already working on that Giannis draft pitch. Costas loves Dallas, Giannis. He loves it.
Play with your bro. We'll have the entire Greek nation on this team. But yeah, that's been our recap of the 2018 NBA draft. Any final remarks from you two?
No, I think it's exciting moving forward. It's going to be see what guys can prove themselves and who did the best. But it's all risk reward when it comes to this for these organizations, and it's going to be fun watching these guys grow.
July 1. I'm ready.
Oh, get ready for the fan to be hit.
In other notable news, we
Yes.
have the new Junior Basketball League or Junior Basketball Association. Oof, I don't know. JBL, I think it is. Is G-Lo going to get a contract there now?
Jello!
Unfortunately undrafted, and was informed by the Lakers that he would not be on their summer league team. I think, I don't know. I think he could be a contributor to some team, at least on the summer league team. So maybe Golden State gives a guy like him a chance and allows him to
Wasn't
run.
even the best player from Lithuania.
Oh God.
Oh man, poor Jello.
Yeah, but the Junior Basketball League, I think a great move by the Ball Company and Co.
The Ball brand.
The Ball brand, and definitely there's definitely a market for that, I think, in today's basketball. In the summer we're having a lot of different organizations try to fight for that. We have the Big Three just started, and that attracts an audience. And then you have the younger league in the JBL, and then out in Cali you have the Drew League. It's not as marketed, but definitely, if I have to pick one of the three to watch, I'm looking at Drew League, and it's not quite commercial, and that's what the Balls are trying to do there, along with the Big Three. So summertime basketball, what are you guys watching?
Summertime league. Give me some MLB.
Oh,
I like my Blue Jays, so they're not doing too well, but yeah, no, I prefer to watch the Drew League as well. They got some notable names. They got DeMar DeRozan out there. They got James Harden. They got Lou Will. Like, they've got names that will bring in fans that will make you watch. As much as you want to watch the young talent, as much as you want to watch the old veterans at the Big Three, if you want to watch a good competitive game of basketball, I'd say go over to the Drew League, because these good competitive players are just going out there like it's a clinic. So it's a lot of fun to watch.
yeah, I would love to experience a Drew League game in person.
Yeah, last year it was won by a totally non-professional team. I'll point out, not a professional player on the roster that won the league. So it's a good mixture. You get guys like CP3 and Debo and Terrence Ross and Harden and many more come in for maybe a game or two, or maybe they compete the whole season. But it gives you a different different style. There's Frank Nitti there. Looking to go for 3-time MVP this season. Doing a fantastic job. I think he dropped 53 points the other night. And I think I sent you guys the link, but Big Baby Davis dropped 37 points. So a little bit of warm up maybe for the big three. He hasn't got a team yet, but Nate Robinson also floating between both the big three and the Drew League. Great way for these guys to keep in shape and keep us entertained as well. So yeah, definitely try to keep updated, guys. Check out the Drew League if you're craving that basketball. Junior basketball league is an interesting take as well for the young guys to get a new opportunity to put themselves on a brand.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, this has been our recap of the 2018 NBA draft. Thank you guys for listening. We've been the Up and Under. Have a good day. Have a good night. We'll see you guys in the next episode.